En sus orígenes, el sueño americano fue un lugar recurrente para los primeros pioneros y emigrantes que volcaron su esperanza de salir de la pobreza y del estancamiento socioeconómico sobre una nueva tierra, donde todo abundaba y todo era posible. Aquellos emigrantes llevaban consigo la certeza de que América era una magnífica oportunidad ofrecida por Dios, de tal modo que allí casi todo les era posible. Estados Unidos ha exportado más allá de sus fronteras los principios rectores del sueño americano: igualdad, libertad, prosperidad, justicia, avance social y espíritu emprendedor para todos. Sin embargo, el abismal desequilibrio existente entre los países ricos y el tercer mundo, sumado al apoyo sistemático a dictaduras sangrientas en pro de beneficios e intereses económicos, ha ocasionado que el sueño americano se haya convertido simplemente en una puerta de escape hacia un futuro incierto en un país desconocido. En este breve documental presentamos la vida de 4 seres humanos que emprendieron el viaje en busca de un sueño, el sueño americano.
Contigo crece mi esperanza, has alimentado el amor de mi alma, y sin pensarlo el tiempo me robó el aliento.
So, my name is Lorena Rodriguez, and I was born and raised in Puerto Rico, but my parents are actually Dominican, and that's all I learned throughout my life, Dominican culture. So I consider myself Dominican. I left Puerto Rico back in 2005 over the summer. I was 12. To an extent, they do, for the most part. But for example, when it comes to education, if in the United States, you're probably getting a decent education in a public school. When it comes to Puerto Rico, in order for you to get that same type of education, you probably have to go to something private. So you have to go to a private Catholic school or some sort of institution like that. It was a mixture of emotions. Like, I was excited, I was sad because I was leaving my family and my friends behind. It's something that you're used to for 12 years, and now you're like changing it completely. I was a little scared knowing that I didn't know the language of the country that I was going to, so it was just a mixture of like a little bit of everything. Something perfect, if that makes sense. Like, I have friends that will travel and visit the United States all the time, and they will come back to Puerto Rico and they have these perfect stories of how they were skiing in the snow or went to Disneyland or something like that. So I was expecting that fun time 24/7, I guess. Like that perfect adventuring time, if that makes sense. And so after living here, obviously that's not the case. You're not really adventuring every day. You have responsibilities to take care of, like going to school, working. So yeah, it wasn't really that perfect a scenario that I had in hand. I'm so glad you asked that question. Like, you could ask any immigrant about what they think about the American dream, and the first thing that will pop out of their mouth probably is a big house with 20 rooms, a pool. They'll talk about a brand new car, money overall. They're able to shop for wherever they want. And honestly, to me, American dream is more of like being able to do what you want to do in life, being able to be happy and make it to where you want to be. In my case, I want to be a future doctor. So that's my American dream. Being able to afford an education so I can get to where I want to be in life, you know? So I do. And once again, if you see it, depending on how you see it and um, the perspective you have on it. Like, if you expect to come to this country and just be able to buy a brand new house, a brand new car, and have money to shop on a daily basis or something like that without working for it, no, that's not going to happen. That's unrealistic anywhere you go. But in my case, once again, the way I see the American dream, being able to do what I want to do in life, I think if I work for it and I actually continue, I'm determined about my goal, then I'm definitely able to achieve that. I have not yet, definitely not. But I'm definitely working towards it. Like as I said, um, education is like my priority right now. I would say no.
No estoy contigo, crece mi esperanza. Has alimentado el amor de mi alma. Y sin pensarlo el tiempo me robó el aliento. ¿Qué será de mí si no te tengo? Si no estás conmigo se me escapará.
Mi nombre es Alejandro Ramos, yo soy de Venezuela y la primera vez que vine a Estados Unidos tenía 17 años, ahora tengo 36 años y realmente me vine definitivamente para Estados Unidos hace aproximadamente 9 años. Decidimos probar la vida en Estados Unidos porque España no nos gustó mucho. Bueno, sabíamos que iba a ser mejor, sabíamos que íbamos a encontrar más oportunidades aquí en Estados Unidos y también nos gusta el clima de Florida. Yo cuando recién llegado sí tuve un poco de dificultades porque no sabía mucho inglés, pero la segunda vez que me vine para acá ya sabía el idioma. La primera vez sí recuerdo que tropecé un par de veces y me costó al principio. Pero son cosas más bien divertidas que ahora uno se ríe de eso, pero antes me preocupaba. Cuando llegué a Gainesville encontré trabajo al segundo día y tuve mucha suerte, trabajé duro por ello, pero fue así y a mi esposa también le dieron trabajo rápidamente. Extraño el calor de la gente, extraño mi familia, el clima de Venezuela es realmente 100% tropical y no se pone frío para nada. Entonces creo que la tierra es un poco más fértil. Si tú te comes un fruto y lo tiras a la tierra, crece solo, no hace falta ni echarle agua. Y es muy bonito allá, la gente es muy bonita. Me hubiese gustado poder estar allí, me gustaría que las cosas fuesen mejor en Venezuela. Me gustaría que la situación estuviera bien y me gustaría que hubiese un sistema en el cual la gente pudiese hablar, pudiese soñar. El sistema es muy opresivo, el régimen que hay en Venezuela es muy opresivo y no me gusta que mi familia esté sufriendo por eso. Y si hay un lugar geográficamente en el que me gustaría estar es Venezuela, porque es muy bello y me encanta. Tengo familia, tengo hijos aquí y no es un mejor sitio para ellos estar aquí y es menos peligroso. Bueno, me gusta vivir en un lugar donde uno es libre de decir lo que uno quiera y me gusta también que hay realmente oportunidades para desarrollarse como ser humano y crecer. Aquí hay muchísima seguridad. En Venezuela no podríamos estar haciendo esta entrevista ah, con, con una cámara al aire libre al público porque se la robarían. Y, y eso es una tranquilidad que no tiene precio. Yo vivía en una ciudad, era la capital de Venezuela, Caracas, y la vida era muy diferente porque la gente allá vive con muchas rejas, muchos seguros, sistemas de seguridad, alarmas, y una de las cosas, antes de venir aquí a Estados Unidos, yo fui para Europa y decidí irme para allá porque saqué un día la cuenta de todo el tiempo que uno pasa trancando y abriendo puertas, cerrojos, candados, rejas, y pierdes muchas horas en tu vida preocupándote, estresándote por proteger las pocas cosas que tienes y la propia vida de tus familiares, tu propia vida. Y eso es lo que más me molestaba. La diferencia más grande de la vida allá es que la gente está preocupada, viendo siempre para atrás, preocupados porque alguien los va a asaltar o los va a raptar. Las cosas fluyen en este país. La verdad es que es muy fácil alquilar, es muy fácil comprar, es fácil moverse en este país. Hay oportunidades, la gente es libre de hacer lo que quiera y no sentí que había prejuicios cuando quise realizar las cosas que quería hacer aquí. La gente me abrió los brazos y estoy muy complacido de estar aquí. El negocio que yo tenía era un negocio de bici taxis en el que transporto personas de un lugar, desde un evento a su estacionamiento donde está su carro. Y es un negocio muy divertido, es un negocio ecológicamente bueno y es un negocio que también es lucrativo, deja bastante dinero y me encanta. La idea para empezar mi negocio, el primer negocio que tuve aquí fue un negocio de bici taxis y fue una idea que se me ocurrió al verla en Inglaterra. Vi que en Inglaterra había una compañía de bici taxis y me pareció buena idea y abrí una aquí. Aquí fue más fácil abrir la compañía. Comencé solo, como mucha gente hace. Trabajé para una persona antes de empezar solo y me di cuenta de que el negocio era fácil de hacer y tuve la iniciativa de tener mi propio negocio. Pues creció bastante, pero ahora estoy buscando otro tipo de negocio. Ahora no estoy dedicándome a ese negocio. Estoy a punto de abrir un negocio que se va a llamar ALA, American Language Access. Y espero que eso le vaya bien. Después les contaré. Todavía no está abierto el negocio, pero cuando lo tenga listo, pues les contaré.
I was born in Caracas, Venezuela. It's called El Paraíso, paradise. I wasn't there for very long. My parents moved to the US like a year later. It was always my dad's dream to come to the US. He wanted a better life and a different environment for his kids, and he wanted to help out his family in Venezuela because he had kind of a poor upbringing, so he wanted to make better salary here. In Venezuela, they love the U.S. Like they hold it up like higher than any other country. It's everyone's dream to come here. I think just because what they see on TV, I guess, and like they assume that everything that is in the U.S. is the best. I don't know. Well, I started preschool. I didn't know any English, and my mom was scared that I would not be able to blend in or anything because I didn't know anything, but it was fine. I was alone at first, and I played by myself, but eventually I made friends and I learned the language really fast. We don't really have like college traditions, so I could have gone anywhere. It didn't really matter to my parents. They just wanted me to go to school. But we always heard great things about UF. It's the best school in Florida. It's one of the best schools in the country, and it has a good engineering program. It's hard to get into the programs there because you have to, when you apply to college, you apply to the program that you're going to be in. So if you don't have the grades or the test scores, they don't let you in, so it's hard. But I feel like, well, here it's probably better opportunities just because the salaries are better. I mean, I thought about it just because it's free. The education is free, but I think that I made the right choice in going to school here, just because of how the student protests have been recently. The school has been stopped. It all started on International Youth Day, and the students went out to protest because there's a lot of insecurity in Venezuela. There's a lot of robberies and murders, and they don't have food items, like basic food items, or like things like toilet paper. They don't have it, and they went out to protest things like that. And it went crazy. Like, they went crazy. The government sent out the National Guard, and they started gunning down the student. Well, it's scary because all my family is there, and always praying for them, to be okay. And I have a lot of cousins that are in the university, so they go out and protest, but it's dangerous. So I'm always thinking, hope they're okay. And I try to, spread the word, through social media, Facebook, Twitter, anything, just to, make the world aware. That's pretty much what I do. Yeah, definitely. That's where I was born, and I always want to go back. Maybe not to live permanently, but I always want to go. I used to go every summer to visit, and I love it. It's a beautiful country, but it's hard. Their life is not easy. But, my family's there, and they're all, amazing people, and the beaches there are amazing, and just the life there it's slower than it is here. It's just like, it's very peaceful when it's not, when students aren't being gunned down. But yeah, that's why. I mean, I wouldn't want to go permanently because I'm so used to living in the US now. I'm so used to this way of life. I'm Venezuelan, but I also feel, American. I mean, I love being a US citizen. I love living here. I love the country's policies, the government, because it's all for its people, but I'll always be a Venezuelan.
I came to this country when I was 3 years old from Venezuela. I was actually born in Caracas, Venezuela. And I came because in Venezuela, it's a country in South America that's filled with a lot of political corruption and a lot of issues that aren't exactly the best for cultivating a family. In high school, I used to always see like all my friends, as we were 15, turning 16, people started getting their permits and their license. People started getting cars, and like all the girls at school and like everyone would have like their keychain like on their belt loop with like their house key and their car key, and like it seems like such a small little minute thing, but like I would always look at them and be like, man, I wish like I could wear a keychain. I would see it on my parents. I would see the struggle for them, like, Dad, why can't you get, this job? And it's like, oh, honey, like, I can't because I don't have a license, I don't have this, or I don't have that. So it was very hard to ignore that this was happening around me. And I remember even I had a chance to do a speech in 3rd grade about like something that I believed in, and other kids were talking about just very things of that age, just like, I believe in a cafeteria with unlimited food, things like that. And I stood up in front of everyone and I told them that everyone's mom and dad should have a license. Immediately my parents started working under the counter jobs, just scrubbing toilets, and they would work a lot in like the food industry, just like at the mall and things like that. Even though when we lived in Venezuela, they were both actually practicing surgeons, but moving to America, I guess it wasn't the same. But all my life they've been really hard workers, and it's been until recently that it affected me legally because I couldn't go to school. I didn't feel any different because my parents worked to keep us at such a high standard that it didn't feel different until one day I graduated high school and realized I can't go to school, like I can't afford it. All my friends, got the scholarships and the grants, and their parents were always working, pretty steady. Everything was pretty stable for them, and that was not the same case for me, I guess. Originally, the concept stood that if you were from another country and you came to study, the rates would be higher for you because you just simply were not a resident of that area. However, when you are here illegally and you don't have any documentation, there's no way to prove officially that you've been somewhere for X amount of time. I feel that it's unfair to charge me 3 times as much to go to school next to the same kids that I was trading snacks at lunch with. Suddenly I have to pay 3 times more out of my pocket. And tuition equity is a struggle to bring equality between people that have been under the same conditions, and the only thing that separates them are factors that were out of their control. We're not asking for the degrees to be handed to us, for us to be given the jobs. We're asking for a chance to compete. DACA is actually, it's called deferred action, and it was made for a lot of young people like me, people that were brought to the States without it being their decision because they were brought here so young. They were brought before they even had a chance whether they wanted to stay or go. What DACA provides for students like me is an opportunity to give us what they call like alien identification, and that grants you a social security number. With that you can get your license, and you can do a lot more things. Like now I have a car, I can drive, I can work. So that in that concept it's great, but you're still not considered a resident or a citizen. So for example, going to school, you still would be considered a citizen of whatever country you were born in. So they charge you out-of-state tuition.
Say you wake up tomorrow, and it's your perfect world, and all you do is go to school, it's a perfect day. What do you wake up as?
I guess I wake up as a U.S. citizen with a reliable bank account and a family that's all taken care of. I guess I would wake up without having to worry that I may not be able to eat if I don't work, or I guess I'd just wake up as myself with all the things that I've been fighting for.